Okay, so we're continuing with the listening energy videos. So we went through a whole range of qualities yesterday. Now we're going to continue with that and do some partner exercises for feeling. Now when your partner puts a line of forward tension and projects towards me, I want to feel that line of tension, I want to feel the biotensecurity, and first I want to connect into a shoulder and rotate around a shoulder joint. Then I want to bridge down into a scapula, and as I twist and torque into his tension line, give me a bit more tension, yep, a bit less, okay, there. It automatically creates a reaction inside his body. So now as I twist and push in, I can feel the scapula. Once I'm on a scapula, I can drop, hook under, and connect underneath his rib cage. So what I'm going to do is a zigzag through his body. From the rib cage, I'm going to press down into his lower back, and then cut under onto his hips, then twist across his knees, onto his ankle and toes, and I can visually look at his feet and look for the feet to twitch. So with this method, I'm using mainly pushing with a slight pullback. Now I can pull down and do exactly the same. So I've got a downward stretch, I get into his scapula, I pull down onto his rib, pull down onto his lower back, pull down onto his hip, feel the knees with a pull down, and then rotate onto his feet. So this lets me zigzag through his body and feel the different points of tension and his structure. From there, what we're going to do is he presses into my body, I push down into his body, and now I want to lever underneath. So I feel the center of his tension. All I do is roll underneath my partner and become more connected to the ground than my partner. So we're just getting a seesaw effect here, where I'm dropping and going underneath his tension. Now most people, as soon as you go underneath their tension, the first thing they're going to do is compete with you and drop. When you start doing this drill, tell your partner, no, just keep your line of tension constant, you get under. Once I'm under, then he does the same to me. He drops, and then he comes underneath me, and I keep my line of tension constant. Now he's got my center. Now I relax and I go a little bit further down, and I get underneath his center. Now he drops, and he goes a little bit further, and now he's under my center. A bit more, and stretch, roll the joints, there you go. Now he's underneath me. Now I release the tension that he's using to get onto my center, and I drop and come back underneath his center. And then he does the same. So we keep going backwards and forwards, ironing out points of tension. Once I'm down on the ground and I'm underneath his feet, and then he comes to go underneath my feet, he's got to get under and deeper. So I'm still underneath you, you've got to go deeper, relax your feet into the ground, there you go, and deeper, deeper, deeper. No, you're using tension now, I want you to stretch underneath, there. Okay, so when he relaxes and stretches, he's under, he's brought me up, I have to reconnect to the ground and then come underneath him, get deeper underneath his frame. Then he has to go deeper. So we have this, I test him, he tests me, but when I test him, I don't change the conditions of my body. I keep the conditions of my body constant so that he can train. If we're both changing the conditions, there's no contrast in the tension in our body, that means Fa-Jun can't arise. You need a contrast in tension, so that when you relax, yield, and stretch, you can get an energy that's going to pulse back. This requires type of listening. So this exercise develops a very deep listening, relaxing, sinking, stretching skill to lever yourself underneath your partner's tension. So we're going to work on this quality of being able to touch person's tension, relax and soften down to the ground, get the elasticity of our body to wedge underneath our partner, have those levers in place, and then our partner does the same. And as we go through all the variations of touching with different bridges, different shapes, for instance, let's say he's a Wing Chun guy and he puts a Gansao out, just a hand pointing down, and I put a Gansao out. So we have this position. I touch your elbow, you touch my elbow. So I cut down and cut underneath your base, and you cut down, and now you want to have relaxed stretch underneath me. So you drop under. Good, and then I sink and I drop under. Now he sinks, he drops under. Then I sink and he sinks. So this continually sinking and stretching so that we get to a point where you're kinetically loaded under your partner and he loads under you, you load under him. At any time, you can just release that load and give your partner a bounce. And we can do this out of any shape. He throws a punch, I parry, you leave your punch out, I throw a punch, you parry. Now we have a double punch barrier position. So from here, I can be cutting underneath his base, and he can be cutting underneath my base. And he relaxes, stretches, under, to catch me. And then we just loop backwards and forwards from this position. You can do it from any wrestling position, any takedown position, any point of contact between you and an opponent, whether it's a punch, a palm, a block, anything at all. And then sink underneath each other and get used to tuning the elasticity of your body into that shape. Now you come up with hundreds and hundreds of positions, angles, grabbing from the hip to lift, to pull, to push, and so forth. And get creative with it. Any technique where you touch your partner from any martial arts system can be integrated with this type of listening. Once it's integrated, it puts your thinking of that martial technique into a whole different level, because it gives you a whole field of applicability. If someone gets under you guys to lift you and you sink underneath them, it neutralizes them. Even if they lift you off the ground and you sink and stretch under, you counter lever and it sends the energy back into them. So it's very interesting mechanical alignment, and it opens up all these areas of exploration. So this is the next step that we're going to address in listening energy to get these skills to awaken parts of our mind's ability to feel more, and more. You can only influence what you feel. So the more I feel within his body, the more influence I can generate within his body. Okay, thank you. Let's work on that one.